Hi everyone, welcome to Trefoil TV. My name is Susan Wilson and I'm the Community Relations Specialist at Council. And I thought a fun one to do today that's very Girl Scouty for me personally would be ice cream in a bag. So to make this magic happen, you need 1 cup of half and half. You need 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar, a half teaspoon of vanilla extract, roughly 3 cups of ice, just a fair amount of ice, and a 1/3 cup of kosher salt, and of course, for your ice cream, any toppings that you want. So before we get started, a couple of little things to note. So I wrote them down so I wouldn't forget. The first thing is your ice should be chopped or blended, and if you're like me and you don't have a fridge that does that, you can totally do it in the blender. It will be very loud because there's no liquid in there. So just warning you, maybe don't do this one when somebody is trying to sleep at home. It is shockingly loud. Next thing is that this can be super messy. So you're actually going to be doing this inside of 2 bags. Your ice cream will be in your smaller Ziploc bag and your ice mixture will be in your large Ziploc bag. Definitely make sure they are super duper sealed, because otherwise you will end up wearing one, the other, or both. And the other thing too is that this ice cream does melt very quick after you put it together. So if you have a slow eater, they might end up drinking their ice cream by the end. It is what it is. So to get started, I actually find this easier. I'll move this so you can see. I find this easier to start with a cup to hold the smaller bag. Obviously, if you have extra hands, they can just hold the bag for you. I don't have extra hands, so I am actually going to put it inside of this cup. Make sure you have room for your mixture to go in if you're doing that. So your small bag is going to be the 1 cup of half and half. And I would say to pour it pretty slow because as it fills out the bag, it'll stretch, it'll sink a little. You don't want to make a mess. Then we've got our 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar. And I did say tablespoons. This is a great time to learn the difference between tablespoons and teaspoons if you don't already know it. So there is 1 tablespoon. And the 2nd tablespoon. Then we need our half teaspoon of vanilla extract. Again, just in case I either said it wrong the first time or you mixed them up, half teaspoon of vanilla extract. And that is everything you need for the smaller bag. When you are pulling this out and sealing it, try to take out as much of the air as you can. Obviously, you're still going to end up probably with a little bit of air in there, but you don't want to have a ton of air if you can help it. So I set mine down and I leave it partially open and I squish it as I go. This is a very delicate procedure. But you can see I actually managed to get most of my air out, so that's pretty good. And then, good time to make sure that's sealed when it's trying to roll away. In your big bag, okay, good, checking. I thought I had a hole there. You're gonna put your ice. Of course, mine has now given me some technical difficulties. There we go. And you're going to do your 1/3 cup of kosher salt. And then your little bag, again, super duper double check that it's sealed, goes into your big bag, and you can leave a little bit of air in this one because it gives the stuff in here room to move around. And actually, I forgot one thing. I'm gonna grab it super quick. You want some towels or mittens or something. All right. So I have towels, and this is to protect your hands. And I know you're thinking, well, it's ice in a bag. Is it really that cold? So the science behind why this works, and I'm gonna do this live in front of you the whole time because I don't want to give any false impressions of how long this takes. You're going to be doing this about 7 to 10 minutes, and you're going to be stirring and mixing. And this is why this is so much fun, is because it's something for the kids to do and go a little nuts. But the science of why this is happening and why this is turning into ice cream, and you can't just do it with normal salt, is that the salt, or not with normal salt, with normal ice, I mean, the salt is actually lowering the melting point of the ice. So in order for the ice to melt, what it's actually doing is pulling heat from its surroundings and from the ice cream mixture itself. So even though the ice cream mixture is cold because it's half and half, it actually is warmer than the ice mixture, so it's a source of heat for it to melt. But the reason you want to use gloves or towels is because it's also going to be pulling the heat from your hands, and it is painfully cold if you do this with just your regular bare hands. I actually made this last night as a test run, and it hurt without towels. I had to grab towels halfway through. So definitely make sure you protect your hands when you're doing this. So as you're going, if you kind of feel the bag where your ice cream is, you'll sort of start to feel it thicken up. And you want it to be nice and thick. So I would actually really recommend that when you're done making your ice cream, you eat it straight out of the bag because it melts so fast, because it's so messy. You'll have to wipe the salt off the outside. But I'm going to transfer mine to a bowl just to show you what it looks like. That does end up making it start to melt a little sooner, so just be careful if you're eating it out of the bag that you don't make a mess. So hopefully you can hear me over this obnoxiously loud bag. We're still thickening up a little bit here. And you'll notice as you're doing this that your ice will start to melt too. I'm starting to get a little bit sloshy in here as it's melting. That's good. It means it's pulling a lot of heat off of the ice cream. So the reason that I wanted to do this for a Trefoil TV is when I was a little kid, my mom was my troop leader. Leave a like for my mom. And she would take us troop camping. And one of the things that we loved to do when we were camping at Girl Scouts was that we really loved making ice cream in a bag. And this is awesome as an outside activity. And it's great to burn off some energy, but then you get a sweet treat. So this always just makes me think of Girl Scouts. Whenever anyone talks about ice cream in a bag, I always remember being like 10 or 11 years old and doing this. And I actually loved it so much that I can remember even being at home over the summer, and my brother and I would ask to do this a lot too. I have also heard rumor that this works pretty well if you put your ice cream in your smaller Ziploc bag and put your ice mixture into a really secure coffee can, and then you can roll it back and forth between people. Let's see how we're doing here. Oh, it's getting thicker. We're most of the way there. Hopefully you guys aren't bored of me yet. So, let's see, what else should we talk about? Oh, some recipes, there's a lot of different recipes online. This one is actually a little bit larger of a recipe. I've seen some that use a lot less, half and half. I've also seen some that use heavy cream instead. I don't know if that will work with the one that I'm making right now. But if you've got the supplies sitting around and you want to do a little science experiment beyond just melting the ice to make ice cream, that gives you something else to do. And I think I've also seen recipes that use regular salt instead of kosher salt. Again, I cannot testify if that works or not, This recipe is actually almost exactly the same one that my mom used about 20 years ago. So this is just the one that I knew would work. We are doing better today than when I made this last night. Last night I maybe made a little bit of a mess in the kitchen. Oh, we are like 90% of the way there on this though. So another fun thing, if you have an Instagram and you follow our Girl Scouts WNY Instagram page, if you haven't seen our stories games with bingo and with some of the like gift quizzes and stuff, we have those as a story highlight on our page. So go ahead and definitely do those. And I'm gonna say that this is probably done. So I'm gonna call it done. I probably could go for another minute or so more, but you can see that the bag is holding its shape as I pick it up. So it's almost like the consistency of Play-Doh. So normally I would just say to add your toppings right to the bag and eat straight out of the bag, but just so you guys can see what is happening here. I'm gonna try to get as much out of here as I can. Well, I will come back to this after I end the video, but just so you guys can see, try not to spill it on my floor. And it looks pretty much like ice cream, and like I said, the bowl is so warm it's already starting to melt. And my topping of choice is of course going to be rainbow sprinkles. Those are my favorite. So thank you guys for joining me on Trefoil TV. If you have any questions about this ice cream, go ahead and let me know down below. Or if you didn't know the science behind why that works, definitely go ahead and let me know that you learned something today, because that's always a fun one. And I hope you guys are having a great day, and we'll see you in the next Trefoil TV. Bye!